a good
All right,
thing.
it's a beautiful evening to you. Thank you for joining us on the program Road to 2027. Ahead of the politicking, you can call it politricking as well. Ahead of 2027 presidential election, there have been coalition mergers, some parties breaking, they are collapsing their structure for another party to emerge. This program this evening will be taking a look at the political realignment for 2027, the North versus the South dichotomy. And we'll be talking to a foremost politician, someone who is a member of the Federal House of Representatives, the 10th Assembly, someone who understands the intricacies of politics, who knows what it is to be a legislator and a legislator in the legislative chamber. We'll be talking to Honorable Ben Etena Bena. Honorable Ben Etena Bena is the member representing UVA, Saple, and Ukbe Federal Constituency of Delta State. But before we meet with my guests, let me give you up to speed with some of the roundup stories that have made the round since last week when we saw a coalition of ADC coming together to see if they can unseat President Bola Tinubu come 2027. Let's take a look at this video after that coalition that brought together ADC, the political party that seemed to want to unseat the president.
We are setting in motion a new way of leadership that is boldly visionary, deeply committed to improving the lives of our people and restoring our country. We don't have any doubt.
This coalition is therefore for all Nigerians who share in our belief that all of us, the young and the old, man and woman, rich and poor, living with disabilities or not, town dwellers or villagers, we all have the patriotic duty to save our country. Accordingly, all youths who face uncertain future and have questioned the value of their education and their certificates, this coalition is for you.
ADC, ADC, Rise and Shine Nigeria.
All right, that was the party that came on board, the ADC, the party that put their structures together to see how they'll be able to unseat President Bola Tinubu come 2027. But last week, something transpired at the Green Chamber where my guest, who is joining me, is a member. We saw 7 members of the House of Representatives defecting or cross-carpeting, as it is called in the chambers, from the People's Democratic Party to the APC. The 7 members are from Akwa Ibom State, and they are Honorable Unyime Idem, Martins Esin, Paul Ekbu, Uduak Afonsos, Ete Ekbong, Emmanuel Udom, and Okon Basi. These members represent, they are honorable members that are representing their various constituencies in the House of Representatives from Akwa Ibom State. So they've cross-carpeted from the PDP to the APC. So could this really be ahead of the political alliance, those that are working for the APC or those that are working for the ADC? But my guest will throw more light on all of this tonight, where we'll have a robust discussion with my guest on the program. Good evening, Honorable, and it's good to have you on the show.
Thank you, my dear friend. Thank you for having me.
All right, thank you for joining us. Okay, first and foremost, let me ask you this. This is 2025. 2027 is 2 years away from now. Is it not too early for this whole political alignment, coalition, and all that ahead of 2027? Aren't you supposed to be talking about infrastructural development, how to meet the need of the average Nigerians, rather than gearing up for 2027 that is still 2 years ahead?
Okay. Thank you very much once again. The early part of politics, 2 years just 2 years into the life of this political dispensation is a sign of rough and tough road ahead. It simply means that whatever the ruling party is doing presently is not satisfactory to people. So those who feel that we should start the process of change, have started. And the ruling party, who actually, they were the ones that started this new politicking when we are just 2 years into governance. They are equally telling us that maybe they don't have a solution to the problems of this country. So they are concerned about how to retain their position. The other opposition, they are concerned how to upstage them. And what is suffering presently is governance. Governance is suffering because we're not paying attention, to what we should do, to move Nigeria, forward. It's a complete distraction from governance.
Okay, talking about being a complete distraction on governance, that was why I asked this question. Let's start up with that, because a lot of persons are saying we should be focused on governance. We've seen a lot of things that are happening in the country: insecurity, hunger in the land, inflation rising, and people cannot even, have 3 square meals a day. So instead of the administration to be focused on governance, they are busy talking about 2027, which is still 2 years away from now. So deep down, is this a failure on the part of the ruling party that is supposed to be concerned about governance, rather than looking at 2027, that is still 2 years far away from now?
I just told you it's a sign of failure. It's a sign they don't have anything to offer anymore.
Okay.
So it's a desperation to stay in power. If not, this is not the time the ruling party should be doing politics. This is the time for them to focus. They claim they started governance in 4 states, and they have come to fix it. 2 years, nothing much has happened. And instead of concentrating to see how best we could have more dividends of democracy in terms of development, everybody is focused. If you have traveled in the recent time from the main town in Abuja to the airport, it's all billboards about the president, ahead of 2027. It's not supposed to be. We shouldn't be having all those things, now. So they have started the distraction themselves, and the opposition who want to take over power, first, since the game is open, they are equally very interested in coming together to see how best, they can take them out of power. To my mind, it is unacceptable constitutionally for us to be playing politics at this time, and it's unfortunate that the umpire is not calling people to order. What is going on is not good for this country.
Okay.
We should be paying attention to the timetable available for politics.
Yeah.
Certainly not what is going on now.
Okay. Now, talking about
People at the campus,
okay.
people at the campus, the ruling party is happy
Yeah.
to be receiving people in stadium, in public spaces, through campaign, when we have not even started, politics, when there are issues in this country, like you just mentioned, the hunger, the hardship, the insecurity, the infrastructural decay, and so many things. We're not addressing all those unemployment, poor health. We're not talking about all these schools many schools are not functioning. Teachers are not at the classroom right now, and we are talking about campaign. Just 2 years into governance, it's not the best. Not the best. Not the best for all of us.
Okay.
You can see that the National Assembly itself is lost, in all this, because every city now, the expectation is that people will
Somebody with defects, absolutely.
Yes. So we have kind of jettisoned governance.
Okay.
In a way.
Okay, talking about the umpire, Honorable. The umpire is supposed to call everybody to order in a situation like this, but we're not seeing that happen. Is it that the umpire is being influenced or controlled by the executive? You are a member of the House of Representatives, so you are a lawmaker. You understand lawmaking process. You understand what it is to be a lawmaker. So can we now really say that the umpire, which is the Independent National Electoral Commission, we know that by law that empowers INEC, there are guidelines and regulations to electioneering campaign. They will release their timetable. The people, the political parties, we have to abide by what the timetable says. They will do their primary election to elect or elect, let me not say select now, the person that will be the flag bearer for that political party. But it seems like everybody is now standing on the mandate of the incumbent president. So can we now say that the umpire, which is INEC, has been bought over?
It's not only INEC. You know, first of all, me, I really don't believe in this kind of capitalist democracy that we're practicing.
Okay.
I don't think we are ripe enough, you know, for it.
Okay.
You know, because of our mentality, you know, and our state of affairs. Under capitalist democracy, the institutions are supposed to be very independent and strong. You know, it is institutions, the free institutions, that are the pillars, you know, of democracy. Especially this kind of capitalist democracy. In Nigeria today, when we pretend that we are practicing this kind of democracy, and at the same time, we are not allowing the institutions, you know, to thrive and be independent. You see, when anybody is elected president in Nigeria, the way I see it, you know, the night before inauguration, you know, as president and commander-in-chief, what the only desire they have is how to annex the power of the legislation and the judiciary, and indeed all other institutions, you know, in this country. So the institutions are not independent. So I'm not surprised that the INEC, you know, is unable to call, you know, parties to order, especially in this case where the early campaign is being ignited, you know, by the ruling, you know, party. So it's expected. There's nothing to be surprised about.
Okay.
You know, nothing much can be done.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Honorable, we'll have to go on a short break now. When we return from the break, we'll now start delving into other political parties, the coalition, and let's see if they will have the strength to be able to unseat the incumbent president come 2027. We know how our political landscape is. Anybody who have done one tenure, either as a president or as a governor, there's always the urge to do a second tenure. But when we return from this break, we'll delve more to look at the coalition and other political parties. Stay with us as we go on a short break on the program. Thank you very much for staying with us on the program Road to 2027, reaching you live on independent television, ITV. And we're still looking at the political realignment for 2027, the North versus the South dichotomy. I still have my guest who is joining me live from Warri in Delta State. He is the honorable member representing Uvie, Saple, and Ukbe Federal Constituency, the House of Representatives, Honorable Ben Etena Bena, joining me live on the program. And we're still taking a look, looking at the political parties, the powers to be on the way to 2027. Is it too early or is it not too early to start talking about alignment, coalition, politicking, instead of us to be focused about governance and the economy? But it seems like all attention have drifted away from governance and economy. Everybody is talking about 2027. Honorable, let's now look at the coalition. We saw the unveiling of the coalition. We saw the former Vice President Alhaji Atiku Abubakar, the former presidential candidate of the Labour Party for the 2023 presidential election, Peter Obi. We saw the likes of Nasiru El-Rufai. We saw the likes of Rauf Aregbesola, Rotimi Amechi, all coming together to form a coalition of ADC. Now, some persons have said if you look at ADC and APC, the only difference you have there is the D and the P. It could be a form of people who were here before, they just shift their tent from here to this other side after they met with the electoral umpire to recognize the first party that was a coalition, the ADA, that never saw the light of the day. Now, do you think, as a honorable member and as a political party man, that the ADC have the power, they have what it takes to come together and tell the president, who is currently the incumbent, by 2027 and take him out of the villa? Do you think this political coalition have the strength and what it takes to do that?
Well, it's not impossible,
Okay.
for them to muster the energy from the ruling party. A group of experienced and elected politicians.
Okay.
There's no time limit for repentance. No matter how you want to describe them, the interest is that there should be an opposition in the country
Yeah.
that can put the ruling party on that chair. In any clan, even in families and small meetings, opposition is very, very necessary. Very, very. It helps for growth and development. People should not see opposition as enemies or people who have come to retard progress. No, criticism is very good. As a matter of fact, I have always felt that a man who possesses thought in himself only is capable of doing something with his mother, because nobody will be there to be advising him that your thoughts are not right, your thoughts are evil, please don't do it. No, but when you have people checking what you are doing, when you have opposition constructively, like I think Mr. Peter Obi, in the last few months, being very consistent in his criticism, it helps society, to grow. For me, I pay more attention to opposition, people, than even those in government. Because those in government, they already have a mindset of what they want to do. But they have their cut away with the fact that they're already in government, and they are either slower, or they are not thinking widely, or because they're in power, they see whatever they can do, they can drive it down the throat of everybody. You see where subsidy gone has led Nigeria, to, it's coming from a very strong position of, like, we could do anything, we could say anything, and it works. So we really need opposition. I'm very happy, I'm very impressed, that a group of experienced politicians and new ones are coming together, to give the ruling party a good challenge. Whether they will be able to upturn the result in 2027, that is yet to be seen, but it's not impossible, very, very possible. And it's a welcome development for everybody.
Okay. Now, looking at the coalition, we want to look at the place of the youths in this whole coalition and even in governance, because me talking to you right now, I'm a youth, and we've heard this clamor right from childhood: the youths are the leaders of tomorrow. It seems like the tomorrow never comes. So this coalition, we've seen the same set of old politicians that I've known since I was in primary school, that have been doing things in the system. Is there any space for the young one, whether in the ruling party? Because it seemed like the politics we're playing in this part of the world seem to be politics of gentocracy. When you see elderly men, those above the age of 60, still in the system, why the youth cannot even have what it takes? When I mean what it takes now, the money to buy the nomination forms, to gather the crowd that is needed. Because you and I know that politics all over the world, it's money inclusive and it's very expensive to run. The place of the youth, whether in the coalition or in the ruling party, do you think the youth are being carried along, or the youth have been left behind, times without number?
Okay. It's a very funny question, no doubt about it, when you say youth. Of course, we all understand that the youth in Nigeria are very, very eager, for a change.
Yeah.
Because they are the ones really, feeling the heat, of touch. During our time, even when we were in school, we were already getting employed, from school.
Yeah.
But it's not like that now.
At all.
I was a student of the Petroleum Training Institute in the early 80s.
Yeah.
Feeding was free. School fees was barely nothing.
Yeah.
To be paid. So I probably benefited, from what good governance, should offer can't say the youth of today are enjoying that same benefit.
Okay.
You know? So, and me, of course, I encourage them. But I am happy that they have found somebody, you know, who represents their interest, change, and who will do things, you know, in the interest, you know, of the youth. And that person is Mr. Peter Obi.
Okay.
My kids know only one politician. They don't know other one again, Mr. Peter Obi. And like you know, during our time, you know, we from the Midwest,
Yeah.
you know, and western part of Nigeria, Awolowo is like Awolowo is like a father to everybody.
Yeah.
You know, from the east, Azikiwe was like a father to everybody.
Absolutely.
From the
North.
Abubakar,
yeah.
and Amadu Bello,
Yeah.
like father. Today, Peter Obi is the father of all the youth, you know, in Nigeria. Let's be very realistic, you know. So I think we're on the right track.
Okay.
We found somebody. He equally has energy and actually acting, you know, like a youth, you know, with vigor, you know, and enthusiasm to see that Nigeria becomes a better place for all of us.
Okay.
I don't want to draw the line between old people and young people. There are old people who are equally very good. People like Mahatma Gandhi, at their old age, they were delivering good governance, representing good governance. Dr. Nelson Mandela, when he became president, he wasn't a youth, but represent good governance. So they are great leaders. They are great leaders. They are not just basically, you know, youth. They are great leaders, even at old age. They represent good governance. I think the most important thing is good governance. It's not about age. Anybody, whether be it a man of 90, that can deliver the. In fact, in the recent, it's old people that are supposed to, you know, do what is good for society. Because where they are going to is shorter than where they are coming from. They are not carrying anything to anywhere. So you would have lived your life, you would have achieved all you wanted to achieve. If it's having buildings, you would have had your house to stay, you would have had children. So what you should be doing is how to help to make life better, you know, for those, you know, that are younger. In few years, old men of 80 or thereabouts, in few years they will be gone. You know, so what is this whole clamor of wanting to do a government of me, myself, and I? You see a man of 80 years and above, he's still acquiring billions. I think the day he needs to carry them along, you know. So while I really believe that the present governance in countries are mostly centered around youthful people, you know, I believe that in the Nigerian situation, they have a representative in Mr. Peter Obi, you know, and I'm not worried. And I think they are very comfortable, you know, with that. We all should follow that direction.
Okay. Looking at the caliber of people who have come to form this coalition, the likes of Alhaji Atiku Abubakar, we know how long that guy has been running to become the president of Nigeria, but it has never happened. Looking at the likes of Rauf Aregbesola, looking at the likes of Nasiru El-Rufai, and even the Peter Obi that we've talked about, that you just talked about, and Rotimi Amechi, the former governor of Rivers State and the former transportation minister, and who is also part of that coalition. Is there any possibility that in the end of the day, or at the end of the day, the Peter Obi will get this ticket to run under this coalition?
I will really plead, you know, that Mr. Peter Obi is given the chance,
Okay.
you know, to run under the coalition. I would really wish, you know, that he's given the opportunity, you know, to do that. Because he is about the person who today, you know, in Nigeria, everybody seems to be respecting, and he is actually doing the work of opposition. So I don't see why they shouldn't give him that opportunity. He has the energy, he has the passion, he has the commitment, and I personally, without making well,
Yeah.
Nigeria of today needs Peter Obi, the person of Peter Obi. And let me tell you why I believe that. Of many other things, there's something that is very, very identifiable in Mr. Peter Obi. He's a prudent man. When you hear during the campaign that you don't give chichi, you don't look, Peter Obi is meticulous reform. Today in Nigeria, I don't know how relevant it would have been many years back or in the future, but today in Nigeria, we don't need an old best president. We want somebody who is very prudent with funds, who will know where to apply our funds to, than the way we are just sitting down today. Once we have small money, we begin to renovate buildings, structures that will not add any value to our life.
And name it after the president.
Okay. and construct roads of no value.
No economic value. Yeah.
No economic, other than beautification or name that I did this.
Yeah.
When major roads are suffering, other infrastructure are suffering, even security is not getting enough equipment, to combat these guys that are ravaging, the northern part of Nigeria and indeed everywhere in Nigeria. No, the small money we are getting, we need somebody that can manage it prudently and for the use of the benefit of all. Let me tell you something that I think, Max will be out.
Yeah.
Do you know every 4 years that once a president comes, he buys Toyota Prado for the new people in the presidency, for the aides and all those appointees in the presidency.
Yeah.
Then they buy for minister 3, 4, as the case may be for each minister, and then not to talk about those directors of agencies, Then we now come to the National Assembly. Every National Assembly member, is entitled to Prado also, and the rest. And that's close to the state where governors may be the same, in Nigeria. Meanwhile, these Toyota people, they are in somewhere
in Tokyo, Japan.
Yes, we are going to buy from them.
Yeah.
I don't think Mr. Peter Obi, will be in that kind of situation, where we will go and carry all our money and dollars and buy Toyota for people. No, Mr. Peter Obi will probably insist. The man that I know, Peter Obi, will probably insist, that Toyota either comes to Nigeria, and will begin to buy from them, or they assemble their plants in Nigeria, or at least, I think, all the rubber components, we can have an agreement with Toyota, all the rubber components, in their vehicles should be supplied from Nigeria, so that we can be able to have something to show for the great patronage, of Toyota. So I really believe that we need a very prudent president in Nigeria today. I don't know how valid it would have been many years back. I don't know what it will be in the future, but today, that it fits squarely into the kind of person, that, should take Nigeria to the next level. So if the coalition, produces somebody like Mr. Peter Obi, I'm very, very sure, that they will be able to change, the government, of the day. But if they take any other person, I doubt if they will have the energy, to do that.
Okay.
Right. The Nigerian people are very, very conscious politically now.
Yeah.
So the best decision they take should be the best decision, for Nigeria, and that is really, Mr. Peter Obi.
Okay, let's now look at other political parties. Yesterday, the Labour Party released a statement, this afternoon, they released a statement saying that Peter Obi is playing anti-party politics. Arabambi released a statement, the spokesperson for the Labour Party, that he's playing anti-party politics by going to join a coalition without informing the Labour Party that gave him, according to that statement, that they were the one who gave him publicity after the fallout of the 2023 presidential election, and we saw everything that happened. Do you actually now think that other of the political parties, like as it stands now, it seems like the PDP is there, the Labour Party is there, but it seems like they are not really there because of this whole ADC coalition that has been formed from members of the PDP and some persons from the Labour Party. Do you see strength in these other political parties per se to also be able to come out to say they want to contest, they want to bring their fielding candidates for the 2027 general election, and probably Nigerians will look at those sides if they cannot find any from the ruling APC or the coalition. Do you see any hope in the other political parties that are there?
Well, to my mind, you know, I'm a member of the Labour Party.
Okay.
And the umbrella of the Labour Party, I was elected into the House of Representatives.
Yeah.
I'm a member of the Labour Party. And the name you just mentioned,
Yeah.
you know, I don't think it's a good person for Labour Party.
Okay.
I'm sure it's an interested member of Labour Party.
Mm.
This is not the time for all of us, you know, to be using statements of threat, you know, against one another. It's a time for us to be concerned as Nigeria how to build, you know, a better country for all of us.
Yeah.
In my mind, every other party in Nigeria should collapse their structure, you know, to support, you know, Mr. Peter, you know,
Okay.
that is to my mind, you know, to be able to win. The more we have other presidential candidates left, right, and center, it's not in the best interest, you know, of how we can achieve,
Okay.
you know, that. So, Mr. Peter will be playing and believing, still a member, you know, of the Labour Party.
Okay.
Just that he believes also that actualizing this common desire of all of us, you know, can come about if he lives up with order, you know, to form a much bigger, you know, coalition. I would have wished that the Labour Party part of it, you know, but I think it's only a matter of time. Decisions to be made, you know, in the best interest of everybody in every Nigeria. You see, when opposition gather together, it is in the interest of the country.
Okay.
Even the worst scenario that they don't win the election.
Yeah.
But that action of coming together is a check, you know, on the government of the day. You know.
Okay.
So we all, as opposition, should not be dividing ourselves as opposition. We should be coming together
Okay.
as opposition,
Yeah.
so that we can be able to provide that alternative, you know, to government. If the government is doing well, I don't see any reason why what the opposition should be doing is just complementing in some areas,
Yeah.
you know, to government. But where a government is completely, you know, not on the track of development,
Okay.
that is where you need opposition. And opposition should not be having opposition. It should be one opposition of people coming together, you know, to put a check on the government, you know, today. The smaller parties, I don't think, because every other party seems to be a smaller party.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
I don't think anybody can muster, you know, if Mr. Peter B were to be contesting under the Labour Party, I wish, you know, that is the situation.
Yeah.
But I still would have suggested that the Labour Party should have formed a merger or a cooperation with other parties, you know, to really, you know, clinch victory convincingly.
Okay.
So much was done in 2023. You know, they did very well. I am one of those. This is my opinion, sir. With the greatest respect. I believe that the Labour Party won the presidential election, you know, in 2023.
Okay.
I believe that.
That is your personal opinion.
That is my personal opinion.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
Okay.
From the way
The thing turned out.
uploading of results.
Yeah.
You know, for the sake of an election that he probably feels is already winning. You know. So
Okay.
when that kind of problem comes,
Yeah.
it did not come in the other results of the Senate,
Okay.
the rep, and they were uploading at the same time, only at the president.
That they had
It suggests
issues.
to me, so that there's something there.
Okay.
So I really don't believe the figures,
All right.
you know, that were thrown out.
Okay.
And again, during the court case, the opportunity was not given for the Labour Party presidential candidate, you know, to really, you know, bring evidence, you know, to show,
Okay.
you know, like that. So
All right.
I believe. But this time around,
yeah,
it will be much better because we're not talking about an incumbent, somebody that is already in the
there.
office.
Okay.
He has all the power and the institution, so you need a bigger power.
Yeah.
So I probably will not advocate any small party thinking that if he has a candidate, the candidate will be able to succeed. No.
Okay.
We need a bigger coalition.
All right.
To do that.
Okay, Honorable, we need to go on another break now. When we return, we'll look at the confidence of the people in the forthcoming election after the fallout of 2023, and we also look at the umpire, if they are really ready to give us a free, fair, and credible election come 2027. But let's go on a short break. After the break, when we return, we'll be wrapping it up with all of that. Stay with us on the program. Stay road to 2027 on ITV. All right, thank you very much for staying with us. Still on the program, Road to 2027, reaching you live on independent television with your uncle Lawrence Osifo, and we've been talking to Honorable Ben Etenabena. Honorable Ben Etenabena is the member representing Uvie, Sample, and Okpe Federal Constituency of Delta State in the Federal House of Representatives. We've been taking a look at the political alignment for 2027, the North versus the Southern dichotomy. Honorable, I told you before we went on the break, we'll be wrapping up with all of this, looking at the confidence of the people, that is the electorate, the people who go out to vote, in terms of credibility in the election, in conducting election. After the fallout, like you said, you had your own opinion that the 2023 election was won by Peter Obi, according to you. That is what your stance is, and that will be the stance of so many persons on the street of Nigeria. Do you actually think come 2027, the people will still have the confidence to want to go out en masse, even if he eventually gets this ticket again, to run under the platform of the ADC, with the popularity he has garnered over time and with the confidence the people have in him? Will the people actually go out again to say, let's go give it a try and see if he emerges victorious in the election? Looking at the people now.
See, my dear brother, it's a sad reality that we have not been able to get our electioneering processes right. After God, I think the most important person in any country is that person who represents the institution of electing people into governance. So if you have a body that has that responsibility, that body is the most important, because that body is the gateway, to having good governance with good people, or bad governance, when they come in, through, very fraudulent processes. Many countries across the world, today, they are affecting their electoral processes to make sure that the best of government, they get it. Even in the US, Ghana, smaller countries, South Africa, they are not doing elections within seconds. They finish and upload and announce results. You don't see a distortion of uploading of results. You don't see it, at the end result. You don't see people going to court. The United States just finished, as contentious as that election was. They did last year. Did you hear anybody going to court, to go and see and say, no, this result was not correct, that is not the right one that was uploaded? So it's a poor state in Nigeria. It has not given the confidence of people believing in the result. That is why many cases, comes after, election. INEC must do so much, to make confidence, put confidence in the minds, of the electorate. This belief that our vote don't count, this belief, that the results are written, they should convince Nigerians, with their actions, to take away people from thinking like that, because that is the process actually that is, throwing up fraudulent, and funny persons, to preside over, our common benefits in this country. Well, in Nigeria, I don't think we've gotten it right. We're in the process of amendment of the constitution already. And I think there are a lot of suggestions, done to the Electoral Act. I personally have submitted a bill. It's a funny one anyway.
Yeah.
But I think Nigerians, if they understand what I'm talking about, it's a very good idea. My bill is that we should have special agent service providers.
Okay.
Special agent service providers.
To manage the electoral process.
No. I will explain what that we do.
Okay. Okay.
They are special election service agent service providers.
Okay.
Now, you see in Nigeria today, even if you bring J.J. Gabriel to come and supervise our election, people will have doubt in the credibility of that person. The way we have acted in our electoral organization all these years.
Yeah.
Now, some groups of persons, e.g., the Nigerian Bar Association, the Nigerian Medical Association, the Christian Association of Nigeria, Islamic Organization of Nigeria, Civil NUJ, can make themselves in group to provide agent services to political parties. Now, what that means is that they haven't been hired. Of course, we develop a portal where their results will be sent to on behalf of their clients.
Yeah.
So let me assume that APC has hired Nigerian Union of Journalists. PDP has hired Nigerian Medical Association. Labour Party has hired Islamic Organization of Nigeria, providing agents across every polling unit in Nigeria. Where they don't have advantage, cooperative representation, they can hire the service of organizations within that area. Now, at the end of election, those results will be uploaded to their portal. Just as INEC is also uploading the result to their portal.
Yeah.
Now, what happens is that it's like a situation where something is put in front of all of us with CCTV, watching over it.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, anybody who takes that in the CCTV will catch that person. So if the result that goes to INEC is different from the one that is in the portal, the same result that is in the portal of the Labour Party Islamic Organization of Nigeria, portal, then we'll find it easy to know what happened at that particular point. It is the result of INEC that will be used to declare candidate. But should there be any problem, the results from those portals will be admissible in court, to be used to challenge that result, and the proper investigation is done that we know exactly where the differences, comes from. You see, in advanced countries, it's not only the electoral body that has the advantage of having, the result. You can even see CNN. As the result is going on, CNN is also
just giving you
and
a rundown.
CNN will tell you projected winner.
Yeah. Yeah.
Pending when the
result
is
is finally announced. Yeah.
So in that situation, yes, everybody's looking at the result. Everybody's looking at it.
They are close marking the result.
Yet, yes.
Yeah.
When you lose, you are satisfied because your own agent service provider has shown to you that you did not win.
Okay.
So why are you going to court?
Yeah.
Again. So I brought that bill, it should be in second reading now.
Okay.
To say all these are attempts to see how we can put confidence, in our election process. So I don't know where we will get to by 2027.
Okay.
But let me advise, many countries that have gone the flame has gone through where the people in power believes that they can do anything, the way, they like. I pray we don't go that direction.
Okay.
But we can get to somewhere where the ordinary man will get so angry and so bitter, that not believing the results, or by perception to see that it has been changed in many situations, can go on the street. And I don't know how many persons, can be terminated, when people go on the street, to protest and such. So we should be careful, on what we do with our results. And I can only but encourage that Nigerians should go and vote, or that they vote for a candidate of your choice.
Okay.
If I'm in that ballot, in any capacity, please, if you don't like me, if I'm not your choice, don't vote for me. Vote for your choice.
Okay.
And whatever results, for those who are contesting, whatever result that comes out convincingly, please accept it.
Okay.
But you cannot win all the time.
Absolutely.
You know, that is how we can develop democracy.
Okay.
So I encourage Nigerians to go, and I believe 2027 will be good.
All right, Honorable. You've really given us so much insight into the discussion today. We're pressed for time. We would have gone further for more discussions, but I'm pretty sure we also have another time next time to have you again on the program for us to continue to monitor and track up what is happening in the polity in the likes of ahead of 2027. I want to thank you for your time for joining us on the program this evening. Thank you very much for joining us on the show.
Thank you very much for having me. I'm grateful.
All right. That was Honorable Ben Etena Bena, the Honorable Member representing Uvie, Saple Federal Constituency and Okpe Federal Constituency of the Delta State, from Delta State in the Federal House of Representatives. As my guest on the show, we've been looking at the political realignment ahead of 2027, the North versus the South. That is how far we can go on the show today. God willing, we'll bring you the show again on Thursday. By God's grace, I'll be back again to take you through. I am Lawrence Osifo, thanking you for watching. Do have a beautiful night rest. Good night.